In our last chapter, the young widow Da Yu'er rose from the ashes of grief to become the silent power behind the dragon throne. Her wisdom preserved a dynasty, but even the strongest hearts must one day face the passing of time. This is the final chapter of the woman history remembers as Empress Xiaozhuang and the legend of her last wind. Years passed, and the boy Emperor Fulin grew into a man. Da Yu'er watched him from a distance, her heart swelling with pride, yet tinged with a quiet fear. He was passionate, impulsive, and deeply, uncontrollably, in love with one woman, consort Dong Yi. Their love story was the talk of the Forbidden City, a bright flame in a world of protocol. But flames that burn so brightly often extinguish just as fast. When consort Dong Yi died suddenly after childbirth, the emperor's world shattered. He was not just a monarch in mourning. He was a man whose soul had been torn in two. He withdrew from the court, refusing to see his ministers, refusing to rule. The intricate machinery of the empire ground to a halt, all because of one broken heart. One night, Da Yu'er entered his chamber. The cavernous room was cold, filled only with the faint scent of sandalwood. She found him kneeling beside the incense burner, his back to the world, tears falling silently onto the cold marble floor. He looked up, his eyes empty. "Mother," he whispered, his voice cracking. "Without her, I no longer wish to be emperor." Da Yu'er knelt beside him, her touch gentle on his trembling shoulder. "My son," she said softly, "love is a gift, not a chain. You honored her with your devotion in life. You cannot let grief become your throne in her death." But her words were like rain on stone. He could not be consoled. His heart was a place she could no longer reach. Months later, the Shunzi emperor vanished from the court. The official records stated he died of a sudden illness, his body weakened by grief. But whispers echoed through the palace corridors, telling a different story. Some said he had secretly left the Forbidden City, trading his dragon robes for a monk's simple cloth, seeking peace beyond the grasp of power. Whatever the truth, Da Yu'er had lost her only son. The empire mourned its lost ruler, but the Dowager Empress did not shed a single tear in public. She was a rock, unmovable, the anchor of the dynasty. But in the privacy of her chambers, as the moonlight streamed through her window, she whispered to the heavens, "I have outlived the ones I loved most. Is this the price of power or of destiny?" With the throne empty once more, her young grandson, the boy who would become the great Kangxi emperor, ascended. And once again, Da Yu'er stood behind the curtain. This time, she was not just a queen or a mother. She was the guardian of a future emperor, the architect of a golden age. She guided him with a patience and grace forged in fire. She taught him not only the strategies of ruling, but the necessity of endurance. "Power is like the wind, my child," she would tell him, her voice calm and steady. "You cannot hold it. You can only learn to move with it." Under her counsel, the Qing dynasty flourished, entering an era of unprecedented stability and prosperity. When she finally stepped away from the court, the empire she had protected stood stronger than ever. One cold winter evening, an elderly Da Yu'er returned to her private garden, the same sanctuary she had built for herself decades before. Snow fell softly, blanketing the crimson plum blossoms in a layer of white. She sat by the window, her fingers tracing the patterns on an old piece of Mongol silk, a simple relic from the steppes she once called home. "So much has changed," she murmured to the quiet room, her voice barely a whisper. "But the wind, it still feels the same." That night, she closed her eyes peacefully for the last time. There was no crown on her head, no court to command, no burden to carry. There was only the whisper of the steppe wind, finally returning to carry her home. Da Yuer, the Mongol princess, who became an empress, a mother, and a regent, left behind no grand poems or towering monuments. Her legacy was written in survival, in the continuity of an empire she held together with her own hands. She lived for love, ruled for duty, and died with grace. History would call her Empress Xiaozhuang. But for us, and for the wind that sweeps across the grasslands, she will always be Yuer, the girl who never forgot the sky. Thank you for joining us on this journey. If you were moved by her story, please like, subscribe, and share. We'll see you in the next chapter of history.